Hey guys, it's Always Improving here, and today I'm here with a special video. For Christmas this year, I got a couple art supplies, but I also got a new camera and filming equipment. So today I'm using a tripod and a new camera I got. So I hope that this video turns out pretty good. But yeah, let's just get right into the art supplies I got. So the very first thing I got is this package of gouache. It's Himi, I think is how you pronounce it, brand, and it contains 18 colors. Technically, I guess it contains 17 colors because it actually comes with 2 whites. I'm not sure if they're different colors. They might be, so we'll try it out later. But yeah, the only thing that I have done with this is open them, and that was actually quite messy. Each of these 30 milliliter tubs, I guess, they had a packaging on them that I had to tear off, and that was a little messy, and so I didn't do that on camera, but just be careful if you get this set. They're kind of annoying to have to deal with for that reason only. I did let them dry overnight, and they are a little less like sloshy and a little less liquid. They're a little easier to handle. The next thing I got, let's see here. I got this incredible white mask. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it is just some masking fluid that I really wanted to try this. So I don't know the brand of this masking fluid, but it's just that. Nothing too fancy. I just wanted to try it out. I'm glad I've got it though. Let's see. The next thing I got was this palette. And this palette is just a plastic palette. It has quite a few wells and 5 mixing areas. So it's a nice palette if you want one to stay. Like, I'm not going to bring this palette anywhere probably. And the reason I got this palette in the first place is because I got some new watercolors. And this is probably the most exciting part, for me at least. I have gotten 2 new sets. So I got this 5 watercolor set of grams. If you can see that here. It has 3 primary colors, a green and a brown. So I'm really excited to try these out. And these tubes are really large. So let's see here. This is a 15 milliliter tube, and they are much significantly larger than the other tubes that I had. So I'm thinking that it'll be able to be used for a lot longer. However, the other set I got was a Daniel Smith Essential Mixing Set. Now, this set came with 6 colors, but the tubes are only 5 milliliters, and so that makes them a little less exciting, but I'm really excited to try the quality of these, and if I like them, maybe I'll get into some bigger sets and bigger tubes. But this Essential Mixing Set came with 6 colors, each of the primaries in their cool and warm shades, so that's really exciting. It's a great way to get better at mixing the colors. It also came with, let's see, what is this called? Watercolor ground in titanium white. I'm not exactly sure what this is or how to use it. I'm assuming it can be used just like watercolor, but maybe it's just not necessarily in a tube. It's in maybe a little bit thicker like gouache. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll try that out today as well. And that's all I got. So now I'm going to do a little clip of me pouring these paints because I want to try them out. So I'm going to put them in the new palette I got, and I'm just going to do a little clip of that and speed it up for you. Oh, and before I forget, the Daniel Smith Essential Mixing Set actually came with a, I want to say a mixing guide, kind of. It shows you what colors create what. This is in French. This is the English side. They call it a mixing map. It shows you what ratios of what colors you can mix to get certain shades of green or purple or brown, or really whatever color that is possible to mix from these sets. It gives you a darker shade and a lighter shade too, so it's pretty useful, especially for beginners or people who are just wondering about color theory, and the usefulness of it becomes apparent when you're really trying to relate a color that's real. You're trying to capture a color that you see in front of you, and you can use that to compare the colors and then mix it with the limited palette that you have. So it's pretty useful. But anyways, I have finished with pouring these paints, and I'm going to let them dry for a little bit. I prefer to work with dry watercolor cakes instead of liquid and straight out of the tube watercolors. They're kind of messier, and I just prefer them when they're dry. So after that happens, I'll get back to you. Actually, in the meantime, I just remembered that we can test out these gouache colors. I'm super excited to try these, and they're super saturated, so I'm wondering how they'll translate into paint. I've never used gouache before, and I don't use acrylic that much. So I know that gouache is kind of a mix between watercolor and acrylic, but other than that, I really don't have any experience with them, so I'm really excited to try these out. So yeah, let's just get into it. So to test out these gouache colors, I am just taking a previously done sketch, and I'm going to paint it. This is just in an Arteza mixed media sketchbook that I got from my aunt for Christmas, and so I just kind of want to get a feel for how they work and kind of just try them out, because as I said, I'm inexperienced with this, but I'm really excited to try these out. So yeah, I'm going to do a little speed paint and probably voice over my opinions about these paints as I do it. So I want to start off first by saying that I'm not super qualified to talk about the quality or anything technical about the gouache. I've never really used it before, and so overall my opinion of it is just based upon this drawing and this painting by itself. But overall, it was a fun experience. I really liked how fast the paint dried, but I noticed how there was less flow than watercolor, and it was less forgiving. I couldn't lift as much paint as I could with watercolor, and layering was more like acrylics instead of watercolors. So it was an interesting experience overall, and it was good. I'm actually really excited to use these in the future, so do expect them in different videos. And now that this is done, I'm going to get back out those watercolors. It's the next day now, so they should be at least a little bit more dry, and I'm super excited to try them out. So just as a reminder, these 6 colors at the top are from my Daniel Smith Essential Mixing Set, and these 5 at the bottom are from my M-Gram set. They don't have an official name, they're just a 5-color watercolor set. So these ones up here are more dry than the M-Gram because the M-Gram are made from honey, so they don't really dry out completely. They're more tacky usually. And even the Daniel Smiths aren't completely dry because I only let them dry overnight. So I got out my sketchbook again and found this sketch right here. So this one's going to be a little more realistic, I think. But I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the gouache and give my opinion, so let's get started. I've actually realized I don't want to test these together necessarily, so I'm going to do half of her face, so I've never done this before, but I'm going to do like a comparison. So I'm going to do like half of her face in the M-Gram and half of her face in the Daniel Smith. So I'm just going to draw like a lighter line. I don't want it to be too noticeable, but there we go. And yeah, we'll be able to really compare, and I'll be able to give my opinion about both without mixing them together. I was so excited to use these watercolors, and I was blown away by their quality and super excited to test them, but obviously I'm not really reviewing them as I haven't used them that much. I'm just giving my opinion based on this one piece. So the first impressions I had with Daniel Smith, which is where I started on the left side, was that the flat washes were amazing. They could produce like really smooth gradients, really nice flat washes, and because of the dualness of the palette, like it only had the the cool and warm shades of each primary color, I could really learn more color mixing and kind of get used to that. It was difficult, but I think it will help me in the future. Maybe they were a little bit opaque, more opaque than I was used to at least, but they were so vivid that it really blew me away. On the other side with M. Graham, the colors are gorgeous as they are. I don't need to mix them much, and that's mainly because the palette was completely, I feel like it was more warm toned, whereas the Danielle Smith had cool and warm shades, so I had to learn and try to mix the colors by myself, but the M. Graham mixed together beautifully, and the colors were even more vivid than Danielle Smith, I felt like. Of course, I haven't used them all in an extensive way, but it was amazing. I do think that I could get less smooth washes than Danielle Smith, but they were also more translucent and less opaque. So there were sides to both of these watercolors, and I'm so excited to use them in the future. So again, expect videos about these as well. Okay guys, now that I've tested both the gouache and the watercolor sets, that's all I have for this video, but I just want to say thank you to anyone who purchased any of these, or anyone who really got me anything for Christmas, but specifically for this video, the art supplies, I really love them, the gouache, the watercolor, I really love it all, and I just want to say thanks. And if you didn't and you're watching this video, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I know it's not anything professional, nothing like super technical with the reviews or anything, but I wanted to show you the new supplies I had and what supplies I'll be using in future videos as well. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!